When solving quadratic functions, often it is beneficial to know how many zeros or x-intercepts our function has, because that can help us and assist us when we're solving to know what we're looking for. So before we even actually solve our function, we can know the exact number of x-intercepts or solutions that we should be looking for. And we do that by using something called the discriminant. Now the discriminant is this portion right here. It's the radicand of the quadratic formula. It's what's inside the square root in the quadratic formula, b squared minus 4ac. So the discriminant actually gives us quite a bit of information. So if our discriminant is greater than 0, if it's positive, that tells us that our graph is going to intersect the x-axis twice, and we're going to have two solutions, two x-intercepts or two solutions to our graph. If the radicand, right, if the discriminant is equal to 0, then that means that our graph is only going to touch the x-axis at one point. It's going to be tangent at that one point, and we're only going to have one x-intercept. So it's just going to hit at one point and kind of bounce back. And if the discriminant is negative, that tells us that we have no x-intercepts. And that makes sense, because if you think about the quadratic formula, and remember, this is inside of a square root. This value is inside a square root. And so if this value is a negative value, that means that it's not going to be any real number, right? Because we don't know how to take the square root of real numbers, of negative real numbers. So if it's negative, it's going to give us no solution. It's an undefined value. So we will have no x-intercepts. So again, if our discriminant is positive, that tells us we have two solutions or two x-intercepts. If it is equal to 0, we have one x-intercept, and if it's less than 0, we have no x-intercepts because the inside of our radical is negative.